with your host, Andrew Romanella.
When you play Battle in Mario Kart and you don't turn off any of the items, there are bananas everywhere. I mean, it's like you're losing your balloons because you're slipping on bananas left and right. Bananas everywhere. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of The Rome Show here on 12OunceSports.com, broadcasting live on YouTube and X. I'm your host, Andrew Romanella. I got you for the next 25 or 30 or so. Just want you to have a good time. It's Friday. I know that fires a lot of people up. It's Friday of Memorial Day weekend, which should mean a 3, maybe 4-day weekend for a lot of people out there. So I only hope the Rome Show can start your Friday off correct, your Memorial Day right, get you ready for a weekend of celebrating those that lost their lives fighting for the freedoms of this country, which is the most important part of Memorial Day. And then secondly, giving a lot of Americans a rightful break from their jobs and their everyday hectic lives to relax and take a second. I was talking about this with my fiance the other day before we get into the sports topics on this Friday. In New Jersey, where this show is centrally located, the schools are in session, high schools, middle schools, elementary schools, that is, until essentially the third week of June, okay? So let's call it June 21st, okay? And I am a firm believer that this weekend should be the end of the school year. I think it's asinine that no matter where you live, you could have a completely different school calendar. Wild to me, okay? And I think that the summer months are kind of lost for the kids here because you go to school for majority of the month of June, okay? Then all of a sudden, it's 4th of July. So really, you have the month of July, then August, and you're back in school. I'm a firm believer that these final 24 days that they're going to give them after Memorial Day is a complete waste of time. You know, and this is a whole tangent that I could go into about what I think about our education system right now and where it should trend and not where it is. But that could be its own show in its own right. But Memorial Day weekend this weekend's got me thinking, man, I am thankful I work in collegiate athletics. I am thankful I do not work in a high school or a middle school or an elementary school. And no offense to those that do. This is just my personal opinion, because if I had to continue going to the school, and I still have to, it's my job, but you know what I'm saying, fully in session after Memorial Day weekend, I feel like that's cruel. I feel like that's cruel and it's wrong, and it needs to change. School should end today and then let these kids go on a really nice break and they can go back to school Labor Day weekend in September. That's just me, Andrew Romanella, school head, Congress chairperson, whatever you want to call it. I'm here for you, the people. Not just on school, though, on sports too. College football, hockey, playoffs. Let's get into it right now, starting with college football. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the CFP has made a change, all right, to the current status of the college football playoff. Wow, really? No way. This is like a 4th straight year that the CFP committee has made a change to the postseason, starting with the most important, the largest one last year, increasing from 4 to a 12-team playoff. So last year with the playoff, okay, the conference champion, the 5 Power 5 conference champions, the top 5 seeded conference champions were seeds 1 through 5, okay? Or top 5. So it created this whole debate, okay? One, stirring around the fact that a one-loss non-conference champion could be a better team than a conference champion not in a Power 5 conference, okay? That's That's the first part of the debate. The second part of the debate is the independent schools, i.e. Notre Dame, that aren't in a conference, then they would not be able to be a top 5 seed in the tournament because they would not have won a conference championship. So this conversation is twofold for me. The first one is whatever. There's no, it doesn't matter anymore, okay? In college sports, conferences have gone right out the window, okay? Here's what I'm talking about, or conference championships have gone out the window. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. The conference matters. The talent that you're playing in the conference matters. But it does not matter if you win a conference tournament anymore in a power conference. Okay? Why? Because the strength of schedule is getting so many of these teams in that you're in. You're the at-large bid. Why? Because you're Ohio State football, and you lost one game to the number 16 team in the nation when you were number 4 in the nation. So, yeah, you're in, though Michigan won the conference, so now they're in. But both of you didn't need to win the conference because you both only have one loss, and we would have put you both in. Alabama, great example. So many times a 2-loss Alabama or a 1-loss Alabama has been ahead of so many schools in the nation. This comes down to strength of schedule. So no matter what the sport, it's really trending that the conference championship doesn't matter. I was watching the SEC baseball tournament. Seeded 10, I think it was, Texas A&M versus like 15 seeded whoever the hell it was. And Texas A&M is losing the game. Or whoever it was, I don't think it was Texas A&M. I forget. I'm not right on the schools, okay? But I'm right on what I'm about to say. And this team won 15 games in the SEC. They were 15-15 in the ACC, not the SEC, the ACC, okay? And the announcer goes, they should be good. They might not. Winning this game could give them insurance on getting into the NCAA tournament, but we already have them as a projected 2 seed. And I'm like, wait, what? So you could be the 10th best team over the course of the regular season in your conference. You can lose in the first round of your conference tournament. And before you even lose in the first round of your conference tournament, we're already speaking about how it doesn't matter that you lost in the first round of your conference tournament. That to me is asinine. So negating the conference tournament is not the worst idea, especially when it comes down to the top 12 teams in the country. Now, all 5 conferences are still going to get their champion in the top 12, which is good because now you feel like there is still a little bit left for some of these schools on the conference championship. Like in the SEC, you might not win the conference, but you still might be in this tournament. Same thing with the Big Ten, ACC, right? Those Power 4 conferences now have that opportunity for the most part to get 2 teams in, where everybody else, they either need to win their conference in that spot like Boise State did last year, or they're not getting in. So another change to the CFP, and we'll see. We'll see if maybe for 2 years we'll have the same rule book, same amount of teams in, and it doesn't change because it's like hard to like get on board with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone else out there listening. Like, it's hard for me to get on board with all of these changes when the changes are coming every year. Like the BCS that I grew up on just 15 years ago, which produced, I got to be honest with you, some of the best college football games I have ever seen. Now, I'm also not saying that a 2-team playoff is smart either. Okay? So you can't not make changes because of what you haven't done in the past. But my point is, if you change the product every freaking year, you change the rules and regulations every freaking year, it's impossible to keep up. It's impossible. And at some point in time, it's like, what's the standard? Like, where does it fall that this is going to be who we are moving forward? And you're always going to make tweaks and adjustments, but it's wild what the landscape of college football specifically has changed to in just a short 7 years. Short 7 years. And aside from the changes to the rules. Can someone explain to me why we have current athletic directors, current people inside of college athletics on the committee for the college football playoff? Okay, I got the committee right here. The Baylor University athletic director, the University of Nebraska athletic director, and the Notre Dame athletic director all are a part of this committee. And I just don't understand how a committee can be comprised of people that are currently in it right now. Like, okay, you could tell me that Nebraska or Arkansas or whatever, Baylor or whatever school has an admin on this committee isn't necessarily going to be in the tournament. You're not telling me that Notre Dame's AD having a spot in this circle did not matter to this change? And it's like, what are we doing here? There should not be one person associated with any college athletics in this moment right now. Not one that's on that committee. Not one. It should not matter. Because that then opens up a can of worms on a fairness level, decision-making level, X, Y, and Z. But that's college football. That's college sports. That's the NCAA. There's nothing going on in the NCAA that doesn't seem a little shady and backdoorish. The Rome Show, 12OZ Sports, broadcasting live on YouTube and X. You want to get in on the action, comment live, YouTube or X, as well as follow us on the social media. The Rome Show 1, that's the Rome Show, the number 1. Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, streaming live to Facebook today. That's kind of cool. Never done that before. I mean, I've streamed live to Facebook before. That was kind of like a lie. I mean, like, I haven't streamed the Rome Show live to Facebook, and I'm doing that right now. So if you go to the Andrew Romanella Facebook page, the show is airing live, okay? Or if you go to the Rome Show Facebook page, the show is airing live. So you now have the chance for more visuals of the Rome Show. So get it wherever you need to get it. Just watch it. And as I tell everybody, just share it with a friend. Before commercial break, pretty cool story here. All right. Congratulations to Team Denmark. In the hockey world, Team Denmark reached the Final Four, semifinals, whatever you want to call it, for the first time in country history, defeating arguably the greatest country in hockey world's history, Canada, by a score of 2-1. Denmark has only 2 NHLers on their team, while as Canada only has 2 players that aren't NHLers on their team. Canada's won 28 hockey world's titles to Denmark's 0 appearances, even in the Final Four. So congratulations to Denmark, who knocks off Sidney Crosby, Nathan McKinnon, and crew. Crosby returned to the hockey worlds for the first time in 10 years. And that was supposed to be a joyous reunion, and it was spoiled by Denmark. If you were wondering, the United States of America is in the Final Four. They will take on host country Sweden, and the aforementioned Denmark will take on Switzerland. So USA looking for their first hockey world's medal since 2021. In 2021, that was a bronze medal. When we come back, we talk playoffs. OKC slaughters Minnesota. The Knicks need to get a victory tonight at MSG. Plus, the Panthers, they take a 2-0 series lead. And can Dallas do the same? I also have a segment every Friday called What You Watching?
What you watching?
And we are going to get that going to finish the show. So stay with us here. The Rome Show, U12OZ Sports, back after this.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Yeah. The Rome Show. 12ouncesports.com. We broadcast live on YouTube and X and Facebook. Yeah, as of today, Facebook. Woo! Trying some stuff out here, including potentially starting my own YouTube channel. No. We always stay on 12 Ounce Sports. More of a fun venture for my fiance and I. The Romanellas on YouTube. If you want to go get an early subscribe in there, you never know. You don't want to be one of those people that misses out on something really new and cool, and you could have been up in front of it. So go to the Romanellas on YouTube and hit subscribe, just like when you go to 12OZ Sports and you hit the comment button and you're right into the show and you let me know your thoughts. I put a question up on the board here that I've started to ask people. You know, there are certain things that go on in sports that are super rare, okay? And the less they happen, the more fun they are when they do happen. And two of them I have written on my board right now, a hole-in-one and a perfect game in baseball. Now, those might not be the two best analogies, but they are the two that here on the Rome Show, being a baseball and golf lover, that I am asking. So the question is simple. Would you rather, if you only get one in your lifetime, would you rather a hole-in-one or throwing a perfect game? Okay, and I'm not going to dive deep into this right now. All right, maybe I am. I have no idea. I'm a tangential guy sometimes. But the bottom line is, both are extremely hard and extremely rare for so many different reasons. In today's day and age, to see a pitcher even stay in a game long enough to complete 9 innings, let alone complete 9 innings without giving up a hit, a walk, an HBP, or having an error on the field is reckless, okay? You know, perfect games, I think, have become almost as rare as a hole-in-one. You know, a hole-in-one to the individual golfer might feel as rare as a perfect game, but when you look at the totality of golf or golfers at the professional level, you do see a lot of hole-in-ones, whereas you don't get a perfect game every year in baseball. Now, I'm not saying to compare the two. I'm just saying, just to give you some context as to why one or the other could be considered more difficult, or someone might want one more than the other. At this moment in my life, I want a hole-in-one more than I want a perfect game. But man, I would love to know what the feeling feels like to sit 27 straight batters down without them touching the bases. Like, that's got to be the greatest feeling. I was a part of a perfect game as a shortstop one time in high school, and it was so cool. That was 6 innings. but I just can't imagine that feeling. But at the same time, I've hit greens on a par 3, and I'm like, dude, that was an electric shot. I feel like I am Bryson DeChambeau or I am Scotty Scheffler, right? And you're still 7 feet from the cup. So I can't imagine what it feels like when you actually hit the green on a par 3 and then it actually rolls to what feels like a tap into a birdie to then, oh my gosh, that's a hole in one. So either would be an unbelievable feeling, but the question is easy, hole in one or perfect game, and why? We will throw that question up on the social medias, The Rome Show 1, and you can comment and let us know there as well. We're going to put on the sports music because we got some updates for the people and some things to watch this weekend. Oh yeah. All right, ladies. Here's the deal. First and foremost, let's start on the hardwood, as my first podcast partner, Anthony Rinaldi, used to say. On the hardwood, Oklahoma City Thunder cruised in the second half to a 118-103 victory against the Timberwolves. OKC was up by few at half, I think like 10, maybe 12. Added a 14-point to that in the third quarter and cruised. This is the second straight game where this has happened to the Timberwolves. And I think it comes down to one thing, okay? There's not enough around Anthony Edwards. Edwards had 32 points on 12 of 26 from the field. Julius Randle is supposed to be your second guy there. Julius Randle was that piece that's supposed to be the Robin to Anthony Edwards Batman. And instead, you have Julius Randle, 2 of 11 from the field and 6 points. So right now, this is the exact reason why the New York Knicks traded him out of New York and believed they were better addition by subtraction. Jaden McDaniels had a good game, 22 points. But outside of that, you do not have enough behind Anthony Edwards. And this Oklahoma City Thunder team is not just good at scoring points, they're good at playing defense as well. And what feels like happening in this series is it's almost like we're going to make it hard on Anthony Edwards to score, but it's almost like, hey, get your 30, bro. I challenge all these other dudes. Rudy Gobert had 5. Mike Conley had 3. You have 3 starters combined for 14 points. That can't happen if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's not the recipe for success. Whereas where you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, we might talk a lot about the MVP and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he had 38 doing MVP things, but you also had Jalen Williams with 26 and Chet Holmgren with 22. So you have contributors beyond just your best player, multiple. And to flip the script to tonight's game, Knicks versus, just drew a blank there, the Pacers, that's exactly what we've talked about with needing success for the Knicks. You have to have multiple starters that can score you 15-plus points. It cannot just be Jalen Brunson, 35, for the most part, Karl Anthony Towns, 20 to 26, but if not 12. And then sometimes Mikal Bridges, 20, sometimes Josh Hart, 17. You need Jalen Brunson, 30. These 3 dudes need to score 15 every night. And they're good enough to do it. They just need to find a way to. And then you worry about the defense. And to me, that's a big aspect of this Knicks team, which is what you need to shut off for Indiana tonight. Because the Pacers, they move the basketball. They don't mind who gets the next shot. So defensive breakdowns need to be fewer and farer betweener, if that's even English, for the Knicks against the Pacers, because they don't care who gets the basketball. Which is why when the big shot happens, it tends to be in Halliburton's hand. Because you're so worried about, oh, Naismith can hit this bucket. This dude can hit this bucket. Obi Toppin can hit this bucket. Bang. Right back to the guy that you really don't want to have the ball in his hands. So tonight, the Knicks, big game. You do not want to lose both on home floor. Series is over. According to the statistics, in basketball since 1971, the team that has gone up 2-0 is 33-1 in winning the series in the conference finals. So you're the Knicks. Gotta lock a dub in tonight. So you can go back to Indiana, tied 1-1. At worst, it should be 2-0, but at worst, scenario you've painted for yourself now, got to get back to 1-1. On the NHL side, last night, the Florida Panthers put a beating on the Carolina Hurricanes, and I read a stat that's wild. It was 5-0 Panthers, 2-0 series lead Panthers. This is the 14th straight loss for the Carolina Hurricanes in a conference final. I got to look up to see if that's true. I saw it a few minutes before the show started. That's reckless. That is reckless. Well, here's why. Because they're too soft when it comes down to playing the Panthers right now. They were out hit yesterday 56-42. The Panthers are playing faster. They're playing more aggressive. They are bullying the Carolina Hurricanes. And they are playing what looks like a Stanley Cup level version of hockey. And the problem here for Carolina is, as we just talked about with the Knicks series versus Indiana, you now go back on the road. You lost both games at home against a team that really knows what they're doing here in the Florida Panthers. I actually think now this might be a sweep, and that's sad, because I don't believe that's the fate that the Carolina Hurricanes deserve after the season that they've had and the type of team they've been. Carolina's been good for the last few years. This is not a fluke make to the Eastern Conference Finals, but you just see what type of level a team like Florida is right now. Has been for the last 5 years, a third straight conference finals. They know what the hell they're doing here. And it looks like they're on track for a Stanley Cup Finals appearance tonight. Dallas looks to take a 2-0 series lead at home against Edmonton. The Oilers, play some defense, okay? Another wild stat I saw, either Inner, the goaltender for the Oilers, has a .843 save percentage, or he shuts the team out. That's how drastic this team is defensively. Rocky's talked about it a lot on Hockey with Rocky. Hey, Edmonton, they score, but can they play enough defense and have good enough goaltending? And immediately in series game or Western Conference Finals game number 1, it came to fruition. 3-1 series lead, give up 5 in the third period to lose game number 1. Cannot happen. Leon Draisaitl's, he's been playing really well. Connor McDavid's been playing really well. Their best players are playing well, but can they play good enough defense? That is the bottom line tonight. Dallas versus Edmonton. All right, let's finish the show with my favorite segment of the week, and it is called
What You Watching?
What You Watching? Change up the music for the people. Oh my God, it's the same song. This one. Yeah. I know it's not football season, but we talked a little football today, and it's tired people up. All right, here we go. What are you watching this weekend? No, I messed it up. Okay, here we go.
What You Watching?
Well, I'm not watching the National Football League, though. If I want to watch the mandatory, non-mandatory, sure, these things could be mandatory OTAs. I just got to turn on ESPN, and then it's National Football League for the rest of your life. So let's start back on the hardwood, because one series we just talked about has some real importance. It's tonight. The Knicks play game number 2 at home, and then on Sunday they play game number 3 on the road in Indiana. You're going to know by the time you put your head on the pillow Sunday night if the New York Knicks have a chance to still make it to the NBA Finals. So that's the first thing that I am watching. Let's continue.
What You Watching?
The Edmonton Oilers and the Dallas Stars. The best part about this time of the year is you have coinciding series. So at the same time that I want to watch the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers is at the same time that I can watch the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers. So tonight and Sunday follows the same path for me. There are 2 televisions in my living room. One will have the hockey, one will have the basketball, and we will have a full plethora of playoff sports. Friday, Sunday, what I'm watching is both of those series, and I'm praying that we have a 1-1 series in both headed into Sunday, because that would make my life more entertaining and some of these series way more entertaining. We're not done, though.
What you watching?
Oh, we're watching some baseball this weekend. Why? Because the Los Angeles Dodgers and the New York Metropolitans start a 3-game series. You're not going to see many of the people that you really want to see, though Clayton Kershaw will actually start tonight for the Dodgers, Kodai Senga tomorrow for the Metropolitans. But here's how it stands. The Los Angeles Dodgers are only 5-5 in their last 10, not playing the greatest baseball, still the best team or one of the best teams in Major League Baseball, 31-19. The Metropolitans, they've been sliding as of late. Not very good on the road are the Mets, but they are 30-20 now, sit 2 games behind the Philadelphia Phillies. They are home, however, for this series where they play significantly better than they do on the road. So I'll be watching the Mets and the Dodgers 3-game series this weekend. And let's finish with
What you watching?
college baseball, man. Like if you have the ESPN app, go watch every bit of NCAA baseball that you possibly can watch, from the West Coast Conference to the SEC to the Big Ten to the MAC to the American East. You got them all, okay? And it is fantastic. Like, I don't think people realize, outside of like the baseball you watch that's like the 15 Southern schools, check out some of this baseball that you'd see from schools that you might not even. I was watching Southern Illinois University versus Murray State or something like that yesterday. Like, check it out. It's awesome. So watch yourself some college baseball. Conference tournaments and championships are being won today, tomorrow, and Sunday. And yeah, it still really does matter for about 25 to 30 conferences out there in college baseball. So go check it out. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed
What you watching?
because I really enjoyed it. I enjoy it every single Friday. Listen, it's Memorial Day weekend, so make sure you take a second to remember and appreciate those that lost their lives serving this country and the freedoms that they have given us. Also, make sure to subscribe to the Rome Show podcast wherever you get your podcast. We will be off on Monday, Memorial Day, and I will see what happens on Tuesday. But at some point next week, this show is back at 7 a.m. So if you just subscribe to 12OZ Sports on YouTube or the Rome Show 1 on any social media site, you'll never miss the newest episode. Andrew Romanella signing off for the weekend. You have an electric one. And until next week, peace.
Thank you for listening.